Not making that mistake again.
What's up, guys?
Happy Tuesday.
Yes, happy Tuesday. As Jack just said, happy Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
And I just realized that we didn't do the intro video.
I was wondering what you're doing.
Should I do it?
No,
I'm going to do it.
No.
No?
No.
Don't do it?
It's over. It's past. The moment is gone.
But what if it's not?
No, it is.
Dang it. Well, I messed up.
Per usual.
Cool. Well, we have kind of a special episode for everybody right now. Special as in very informative. And I'm looking forward to it. So, what do you got to say?
You're the informative one.
Me?
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, this is our 10th episode, and so what we're going to do is we have a lot of listeners on our audio version of the podcast, and we want to bring those guys over to the live podcast every Tuesday night if they can. So what we're doing is for the 10th episode, we're going to combine the two. It's a live episode, but it's also episode 10. And so if you just listen to the audio podcast and you're listening to this right now, this was recorded last night as a live episode with interaction from the audience. And join us on Tuesdays at 5 o'clock p.m. Central Time if you want to be on our live at 5s. And they're a lot of fun, and you can catch up on all of them on our YouTube page. They are all saved on there, every one. We do giveaways. We bring on guests from our normal podcasts. And
I'm here. I'm super fun.
Sometimes when she doesn't make me clean. No, but so come check out the live at 5s because they're a lot of fun. And to be honest, they're kind of my favorite part of the podcast.
They are fun. I like interacting with everybody.
Yeah.
The last two ones have been really fun. Like the last 5 to 10 minutes of them, like the super questions.
Yeah.
The questions, we've been doing some giveaways and got to answer just totally random questions that we come up with, and the winner gets giveaways.
Yeah. We've got some cool giveaways so far. We
have a super cool giveaway coming up.
Oh, man.
Like, when I talk...
Like over $1,000 giveaway.
Yeah. When I talk about, like, you think of the name of Beyond the Podium.
Yeah. This
is Beyond the Podium of a giveaway.
This is beyond my checkbook
beyond,
of a giveaway.
Yeah. Thankfully, we're not having to buy this one. It's sponsored. But I'm not sure if we're allowed to say yet.
No, don't say.
Yeah, we definitely can't say yet. But I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we have some awesome sponsors, and
They'll
we're very
probably
appreciative.
figure it out who it is by the end of this live, because we're going to talk about what's up and coming.
Well, then why don't we just say what it is?
Well, how about we drag it out till the end?
Okay. Because we're like that. You're so mean.
Well, I don't want him to be like, oh, yeah, that's going to be the giveaway, and then just...
See you later.
Yep. Coming back for the giveaway.
Very true.
I know how some of y'all be. I know how some of y'all are. I'm like that, too.
The other thing I will say, if you don't know yet already, is check out my awesome shirt.
Yeah. Then look at mine.
Not as awesome.
Not as awesome.
If you want an awesome shirt like David and not have a not awesome shirt like Kaylee, you can go to, if you're watching the video, right here. Well, actually, it starts right here. Visit beyondthepodiumpodcast.live, and our shop is there. You can get some cool merch.
Yeah. Mine's dirty because I work out in mine. David doesn't use his, so.
God. Okay, so before we get into announcing everything, I'm going to answer a quick question that was on the comments before we started anything. And it's from my student up in New York, Jack. And he said, happy Taco Tuesday. Jack's always in such a good mood.
Yeah. Well, tacos put everybody in a good mood.
They do.
Have you ever ate a taco and been in a bad mood?
No.
Me neither.
So he said, so what I was talking about in the previous Live at 5 was about the straw on the rib was a person told me to attach a straw to my rib and close my eyes and mount my gun. Open my eyes and see if I'm looking perfectly down the tube. This sounds credible, so should I adjust the stock so that the straw tube so that I can see down the straw tube when I'm mounted? Or should I work on my mechanics? Or should I wait for my lesson in July? And what I would say is that what that's referencing is having basically a gun that's set to shoot exactly 50-50. Which is actually pretty rare in sporting clays. And so I would say that would actually be a very bad fit gun for shooting sporting. It would definitely be a bad fit, an unfit gun for the way that I teach to shoot sporting. So the best thing to do is, and this is going to actually come up in our upcoming series of podcasts, which we will announce right after this question, yeah, we will, is that it's so important to have good visibility while you're shooting, and mounting the gun so that you could see down a straw tube that's attached to the end of your barrel would do nothing but literally cut off 50% of your vision. So we don't want to do that. Just rely more on your eyes, and when we get there in July, we will perfect it. So thank you for that question. It's good.
I would have a totally different answer for that in my game.
I figured, yeah.
Even like just getting used to shoot. I shoot 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the gun to shoot exactly where I'm looking, and I think that like comes with preference, you know.
It comes with preference,
because,
and it
like,
comes with the game. With the game.
Yeah, because like in your game, if I were to take a gun that shoots 60-40, that would be a serious adjustment period for me.
Think
like,
of...
you always say proprioception.
Mm-hmm.
I
Nice.
know where my gun's going to shoot, even if I'm shooting from the hip or over the head or whatever, because I know it's 50-50. I've gotten used to that dynamic of the proprioception. Whereas if my gun were to shoot 70-30 or 60-40, it would be off. You know what I mean?
If you have an unmounted gun, then the... I'm going to forget you said that.
No, I'm serious.
What I'm saying is the 50-50 only comes into play when you're mounted. If the gun is unmounted above your head or below your hip or from the hip, it can't be 50-50. It just is.
How?
Because... Kaylee Browning.
What if you
What it
shouldn't,
would
like,
mean...
if you set it up...
No, listen, let me explain.
I
If
know
the
what
gun...
it means.
No, you don't. If the gun is from your hip...
We're saying the same thing, but different ways.
Okay, I'll let it go. I know what you mean though. What you mean is your gun shoots flat.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why that's bad in my game is shooting a low gun, or shooting in FETASC, or even shooting sporting. You know, some of our shots. Do you know, this is my own question, do you know what the average time, or let's go the range of the shortest to the longest amount of time between calling pull and the first shot in bunker?
Yeah, it's about, I don't know the average, but in Italy we did this thing called shot data, I think is what it was.
Is that the little thing that was on your vest?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so the whole bunker was like set up to like listen to when you like took your little key card and you scanned it on the mic, and you called pull, like from the time you called pull to your first shot, it would do an average, and I think my average was like 1.1 seconds or something from time to call and pull to go in one. I could, like, that's not hard facts, but that's like somewhere close. I could probably pull it back up and look, but yeah.
Okay, so imagine where that has now become 5 seconds or 6 seconds, and so there'd be no reason to be in the gun for that long. The only thing it's going to do is increase barrel awareness, decrease visual acuity onto the bird, and so when we shoot low gun, if we shoot a gun that's 50-50 in sporting, let's say taking FETASC into account, the mount would have to be so no, I'm not going to use my demonstration gun. The mount would have to be so unnatural of mounting the gun and squishing the head into the stock that it would do more harm than good. So, next subject.
Lodge updates.
Sure. Just reading the comments.
What'd that say?
Jack says, even though I was referring to Stockholm setup. So he's talking about this. Yeah, we know that. And then Nate says that we crack him up.
We're like an old married couple. We bicker 24/7.
It's because I've known you too long.
Yeah. Well, it's because I'm always right. Just kidding.
Okay, why don't you start with the lodge updates?
So
why don't you explain, if this is somebody's first episode, what we're even talking about?
Oh yeah, okay. So what I mean by lodge updates is if you're new here, we are currently building a facility, a lodge, for our clients and students to come here and train with us. So they have a place to stay, we have food, we have drinks, we have shooting. It can be all inclusive. So that is what I'm talking about. And to give you an update on that, everything is back rolling on that. So COVID-19 has pretty much no longer affected that. We're basically ready to roll. Just waiting on people to get here to start rolling. I hate waiting on other people to do stuff.
I know you do.
If I could build a house myself, I would build it.
You should learn.
It would take me a long time. Not to learn it, but like, could you imagine me just out there by myself building them?
I could not.
No.
No.
Let's be honest, I can't even put an office chair together.
It was a blow-up office chair.
No, it wasn't. No, but that's going, I would say, what is it, June 16th. I would say the lodge predicting to be done maybe late November, early December, probably.
On top of that, we have with what we have right now, we're ready to roll for people coming to Cypress Creek.
Oh, yeah, let me explain that too, because we have, even though we're building a new lodge, we have a cabin that's on a lake. It's actually really nice, really pretty, that a couple students have come and stayed to. So we are open for lessons here. Anybody wants to come here, we have a place for you to stay. You can sleep 4 people. It's on a lake. It's like on stilts, pretty much.
It's a great vacation, to be honest.
It's honestly, it's where we duck hunt, so it's all flooded timber. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you've seen us on social media, some like on our stories. We do a lot of like fish fries and all that stuff down there. But my point is even though the new lodge isn't up yet, if you do want to come down for lessons, we do have a place for you to stay. It's called we just call it the fishing cabin because we have 2 boats out there and we go fishing. But it's on a lake. It's really pretty.
So that's good to go, and we're just really looking forward for the lodge to be finished. And a couple of people are saying that we should kind of document the construction, and we actually already planned.
Yeah, we have documented the process of creating the blueprints, and because I basically will sit down and just like draw out how I want it to go, and it looks like a 4-year-old did it. And then I'll take it to David and I'll be like, do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this? And he's like, I don't know what that is. So then I have to go back, have to get a ruler, and I have to draw all the straight edges and like write out the bedrooms and write out the kitchen. And then anyway, so we have been documenting it from like start to finish. And these blueprints that we have are totally things that we've come up with. Like, we didn't just get them off the internet.
Yeah, it's going to be really well put together for shooting. And some of like the vision for what we're going to be doing, we want to host clinics. And so say, for example, if you guys, had listened to the previous podcast with Matt Zanis, or like the guests we're going to have on next, and other people that are great and knowledgeable sources of information within the game, but maybe not necessarily other shooters, and sometimes other shooters. But we want to bring in guest instructors and I guess guests and host clinics. So we might do a clinic based off of body mechanics and bring in a guy like Matt, Dr. Matt, to talk about movement and fitness and nutrition, and kind of split a clinic off like that. Do another clinic with a guy specializing in sports vision. Do another clinic, maybe more like a fun clinic with my friend Trevor. Have people down, teach you who's a multiple-time world champion in goose and duck calling. We can teach you guys how to call in birds, hunt, shoot, and just kind of combine everything. So we have a lot of cool plans for a lot of neat different clinics. And then on top of that, have people come in individually for lessons. We'll have Renair clay bots out here so that we can simulate any target at the press of a button, build a course in minutes as we walk through. And then we'll have multiple places set up as training areas with a couple, 4 or 5 traps all in one area. We can shoot 360 degrees around, all in a wireless system. So we got a bunker, we have an enclosed 5 stand, and it is going to be freaking awesome.
Also, if y'all missed the episode with Dr. Matt Zanis, he was gracious enough to create a program specifically for shooters. So if you missed that, we have a link is it on our YouTube in the description?
Yeah.
In his episode?
I believe so.
Go to episode 9.
Actually, don't say that yet because I'm not sure. I'll put it somewhere.
Okay. Well, we will link, it's on our social media, I know. And I'm pretty sure it's in the description box with his episode. However, if it's not there, we'll check after this and make sure it's posted there. But he created a shooters workout program, obviously specific for shooters, for a fantastic price. It's I don't remember how many weeks he said. I think 6 weeks,
something,
4 weeks. I'm not sure. Anyways, you have lifetime access to it. It's only $49. But anyway,
I have a couple of my students on it right now, and
yeah,
it's good. It's really good
for sure. Anyway, so I think that's most of the updates from the lodge standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need a tower. Doug is saying that we need a tower. I agree, Doug.
I agree, Doug. We definitely need a tower. We have this huge shell pit, and it's probably, I'd say 55 feet down. You can stand 55 feet up, and we want to put a tower on top of the shell pit and shoot from the bottom of the shell pit.
Yeah, if we had a 50-foot tower, it'd be a 100-foot tower from the bottom.
It'd be insane.
It's actually really amazing terrain-wise. If anybody is listening that shoots VTask, it rivals that of the World VTask in Italy, which so far that I've been to was the best terrain I've ever shot on. But we can, depending on where we stand, we can simulate stuff way below our feet at crazy angles. It's just, I'm so excited to get it all finished up. Gonna be really cool.
Okay, so you want to talk about our upcoming episodes?
Episodes?
Yeah.
Or schedules?
No.
Well, we should talk about schedules.
You can if you want.
Okay. So, just a real quick update for those of you, and it's been hard to get all of this out as quickly as possible because I'm having to reschedule a bunch of people and communicate with a bunch of different clubs to make sure it all works. But I'm gonna read off my my schedule that's pretty much set in stone as of now for lessons. Basically, from here in 2 days on. I guess it would be the 18th. I'm going to be headed to the Meadows in outside of Atlanta in Forsyth, Georgia, for the Georgia State Championship, shooting that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, I will be doing a Game Bore sponsored clinic there at the Meadows on the targets from the tournament with another Game Bore shooter. From there, I head back to Ohio to teach a little bit there. Then head directly to Northbrook for about a week and a half, directly after their state championship being held at Northbrook. So I'll be teaching there for 9 days on the same targets that their state championship was set on, and that goes until the 7th. So from there, we're going to be going back to Ohio for the SCTP International Nationals, which is really exciting at the Cardinal Center. Mm-hmm. They have the national championship for the International Shooting Games. Cardinal Center is putting in 4 more bunkers. They're going to have 5 bunkers there. They can hold World Cups for bunker.
Yep, and I will be at that one. So if you want bunker or ATA lesson,
yeah,
I will be there.
Yeah, so Kayle and I will both be there. I'll be teaching at the Eagle's Nest, 5 minutes up the road, and at Cardinal Center. Kayle will be available for lessons at both as well.
Yeah. But I only have like 3 spots left.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and so So then from there, headed to set the targets for the New York State Championship at Rochester Brooks in Honeoye Falls, New York. I'll be setting those targets and then teaching on the targets that I set for the state championship for a week and a half. That clinic is pretty much booked up right now, so get on that if you can. From there, headed to the North Central Regional at Northbrook in Chicago to compete. Then from there, the Ohio State Championship, and I want to talk about that really quick. It's going to be at the Cardinal Center, same place that the regional was last year, and the state championship, Ohio State Championship, is awesome. I'm going to probably interview one of those guys to talk about that shoot later on, but I'll be competing there. Great shoot to go to if you're looking for something to shoot in that area, in that regional area. And then for now, that's what we're looking at. There's some other stuff going to be in Florida and Houston in late August. But that's all we're going to talk about for now. So if you guys want want to book any lessons or check out my calendar, just go to the website. It's just dradulovich.com. You can also find it by going to the Beyond the Podium podcast website and link to it there. But my instructional calendar and the ability to book lessons there is all on my website. So you can do that all virtually. It's very easy.
Cool. Okay. Now, do you want to talk about our future guest?
Yes, but we have one question, I guess. Duke Durham says, sounds like, I think he's talking about Cypress Creek. Sounds like a premier type place. Was that the plan all along, or is it taken off like that?
No, Cypress Creek has been the plan all along.
Yeah, way before the podcast.
Yeah, like 2 years ago. And the cabin that we have now, that we use sometimes for our clinics and stuff, it was my grandpa's like kind of weekend project. He really loves to fish, so we have some land that's on a lake, and he built a cabin, so we use it all the time, pretty much every week. But no, the Cypress Creek Lodge has been in the works for a long time.
So Doug wants to know if we're still planning on doing a live broadcast from Rochester Brooks. Absolutely. And I'm going to, and also a bunch of people are wanting to know if you're going to come to New York.
Possibly. I'm trying. It's been a lot of talk that my shooting season is going to open up kind of hopefully somewhat soon, so I just have to wait and see what dates are released. But no, definitely, if I could make it to New York, I really want to go to New York.
Yes.
That's like every time he goes to coach there, I've not been able to go, and that's the only place I've wanted to go. So yes, I'm going to try to make it, but fingers crossed.
So yeah, we'll be doing a live broadcast there, live at 5 at Rochester Brooks. And a couple other places as we go. So we'll probably be doing one at Cardinal Center for the International Nationals.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Prepare. We may even do just like a one each day or something. There's going to be so many people there.
Yeah.
We don't know yet. We're definitely going to be doing some lives from the Cardinal Center, talk about the new bunkers there, because I'm super excited about the new bunkers there.
Yeah.
I can't wait to shoot on those bunkers.
Yeah. It's going to be cool. Sweet. Okay, now talk about the guests.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so we are super excited to announce that we have a new series coming out. I don't know if y'all listened to our mental game series, which is kind of like the first thing to kick off the podcast that we did. So we did the mental game, and then we had some guests on, and now we are going to do a vision training series. So
not just vision training, but vision.
Yeah, vision training, understanding your vision, understanding how nutrition plays into your vision, understanding how the physical side plays into your vision, mental side, the science behind it. Pretty much any question you can think of about vision, we're going to answer. And not just David and I, as knowledgeable as we are about that, but we have, do you want to tell him?
Yeah, so probably a lot of you know that I work really closely with a guy named Dr. Richard Colo. and he is an awesome sports vision doctor in the United States. And we'll have him on the podcast in the future, maybe as part of this vision series. But there's another guy that we've never heard from over here in the United States, who is pretty much the European equivalent to Dr. Colo. They know each other, have slightly different, differing opinions on small things, but he's an amazingly nice guy and incredibly talented in what he does. And his name is Dr. Edward Lyons. So we're going to have him on first to kick off the Vision Series podcast. And we're going to be talking, we have a lot of questions for him. Now, with that, we want to bring into play some of the questions that you guys have, because I would say that of all of the questions that I get in emails and Facebook messages and Instagram, a huge percentage of them, apart from being technically based, are stuff on the eyes, whether it be dominancy, vision problems, questions on how to work the eyes correctly, questions on inconsistency in the eyes, so many different things. So I want to have some of you guys that are listening, whether it be live or in the published podcast, to send us an email with if you got a chance to sit down with one of the best doctors in sports vision in the world, what would you want to ask him in relation to shooting?
Yeah, he's not just an eye doctor. I mean, he's not just an ophthalmologist, but he specializes in sports vision. And not only that, he specializes in sports vision specifically for shooting. So he's an avid shooter himself, and that makes it pretty cool because he has the resources to not only go out and shoot himself and then say, hey, I have this problem, or he encounters problems with his patients, but then he has access to the resources and can understand the medical side of it too, which is pretty cool because when you're talking about shooting, especially the different disciplines in shooting, I find it fascinating to learn how a single thought can play into how you perform physically, and not just like what you would consider like a normal physical, but like your eyes as well. You know, like when you think physically, you think of like arms, legs, body movement, but consider the eyes too.
So visually.
Yeah, but it's like your eye's a muscle, so right. Physically too.
Cool.
Then from that, he explains how he got started, how he trains. So following that, after the interview with him, we are going to have a company on that I personally am really close with, and you've probably heard me talk about them, and some of y'all have even guessed that they're going to be our guests, and you're right. It is Synaptic strobe glasses, and they are going to kind of bounce off of Ed and go from what he said and kind of take like how he trains and give you the tools to train.
Well, explain why.
Why what?
Why we're having they're going to be able to bounce off of what Ed says.
You mean like scientifically?
No, Ed. So the reason why we have Ed for this is because in his own practice he works heavily with Synaptic. Yeah. Not just using the strobe glasses, but as you'll come to find out, there's a lot of other things that this company offers. And I have a couple of my students on my Platinum program using both their software and hardware, their products and their software, and it's a really amazing company. It's basically you're working outside of shooting to train something that you use for shooting, and Synaptic carries or bridges those two things together and allows you to put a huge emphasis on working with your eyes. And so Ed recognizes the significance in that and the value that Synaptic brings to the table. And so while talking with Synaptic on wanting to get them on, we kind of had the idea, well, let's bring in Ed to kind of kick the series off.
Yeah.
And so because that kind of ties the shooting into it, gives us a real world example where Ed is a guy, not only does he work with shooters, and when I say when he's working with shooters, I mean one of his really good friends who was even in his wedding is another one of my friends. His name is Ed Solomons, who's a world FITAS champion, a great coach over in the UK, and they work hand in hand a lot. In fact, they're even business partners. Ed Lyons knows what he's talking about, and on a daily basis is working with world champion level shooters to work on their eyes. And
he chooses Synaptic to train with.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Just to give you a background on Synaptic a little bit, so how we kind of came across to him is the first part of the Olympic trials. So this story is not made up. The first half of the Olympic trials in Kerrville, Texas, one of Synaptic's reps was there, and he had a little booth set up, and my dad came over to me, I think the second day in the competition out of 4 days, and he said, hey, there's a guy over there that would like to talk to you about Synaptic, like these strobe glasses. And I've heard of sensory training and vision training and the strobe glasses, but I'd never heard of using that for shooting. So I went over there, I introduced myself, I talked to the guy that was there, and he was like, here, take this, go try them out, let me know what you think. So in the middle of the match, during the match, I think the first 2 days I was how many targets behind?
No idea.
We looked it up the other day.
I don't remember.
I was, I don't know, maybe 7 targets behind. I don't know. It was like kind of floating between third and fourth place. In the middle of the match, I take these glasses and try them out. Went and shot, and I shot a 24. And I was like, okay, is that coincidence or did this really work? So tried it again, shot 23 or 24 the next round. So the next day I went back to the guy and I was like, look, do you mind if I buy these from you or use these the rest of the match? And he was like, I gotta go. How about I give you these glasses? You can use them. Let me know what you think, and we'll get with you on the when the match is over. Said, okay, cool. Middle of the match, switched to these glasses, used them. The next day, the third day, I pulled ahead in the lead with those after using those glasses, and I never lost the lead through the rest of the trial and through the second half of the trial too. I mean, they're phenomenal glasses. They helped me be able to see the target better, track it better. I mean, I was amazed at the effect that they had on my vision.
Yeah. Well, we'll let the Synaptic people explain where they came from.
Yeah. Should we tell the giveaway for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, with all that being said, Synaptic has agreed to do a giveaway with us, and that's what we were so excited about earlier. But they are going to give one of y'all a free little training program and a pair of Synaptic strobe glasses, which are the expensive ones. They do. You can literally download the app and you can put in any kind of program you want. You can shut one eye off, you can have one eye blinking, you can have both eyes blinking. I mean, the training is unlimited with these glasses, and they are going to be giving away one lucky winner a pair of glasses.
So if you guys don't know, because I don't know if you just kind of keep talking about these strobe glasses, but
yeah.
People don't know what in the world you're talking
about.
about.
Well, I know, but I kind of just wanted to be I didn't want to give too much away.
Okay. So,
they're sensory training glasses.
That still is not going to help very many people because people are asking. They're saying, "What are these things, and what are you talking about?" Long story short, and I've heard about these and have used, have used them in my own training for a long time, but even before Synaptic was a company that I know of. But long story short, they were developed by I think these two guys at Nike. And they were I have no idea where they are. They were like Nike strobe glasses. And this was maybe like in the latter part of the first, like maybe 2007 or something. I'm not really sure. But a lot of professional athletes use them in baseball, in football, in basketball. In fact, Steph Curry even released a video a long time ago of him using these sensory training glasses while he's practicing 3-point shots. And so obviously being someone that enjoys watching and learning from other professional athletes, I'm like, well, what are these things? So I look them up. I find out Nike doesn't make them anymore, and found an old pair on eBay and bought them. Well, then come to find out that now one of the guys that developed them at Nike started his own company, I believe. I might have this totally off, but we'll talk to Synaptic about it, and that's Synaptic. And so basically they improved upon the original technology that he came up with while being contracted with Nike. And they're used by professional athletes all over the world. And basically what they do is they're glasses that you put on, and they strobe in terms of your visibility. So they'll shut your vision off in different sets of milliseconds, so that you kind of almost look like the lights are being shut off and on as you're looking at something. So, for example, if you're trying to take catch a football, or catch a baseball, or hit a baseball, or shoot a target, what it does is it basically makes it hard, and we'll get into the science later, but it makes it harder for your eyes to work. It makes it harder for that visual information to be fed to the brain. So therefore it basically puts resistors on the neurological pathways between the eyes and the brain and the body, so that it makes it harder work for you to your hand-eye coordination to work, essentially. And it makes your I guess the myelin around what's happening neurologically develops stronger bonds, stronger connections, and basically improves your hand-eye coordination, improves your ability to focus on something. And when you use these glasses, I'm not kidding you, put them on and watch clay targets. And initially you put them on and it's hard. I mean, we'll show you the video of Kayle using them for the first time, where I tossed her a little tennis ball and it hit her in the face. But then when you start to get to use them, and your brain adapts to that visual information, that change of visual information, you start to see an improvement. And once that becomes your new status quo with those glasses on and different intervals of blinking, you take them off and it's like a whole nother world. I mean, the target looks bigger, it looks slower. There's an unbelievable amount of more visual information that you're getting now, and your ability to look at the bird and see the bird and titrate onto the bird in terms of your visual acuity all gets heightened. And so that is my non medical explanation of what's happening. And that's why we're having Ed Lyons on, Dr. Lyons, and then the Synaptic people after that, to explain more of what's happening, how it works, why it's beneficial, and what other things you can use in the training with that, so that you can improve upon just using the glasses. Kaylee's bringing them out right now.
I found them. I thought my cousins use them for baseball training a lot, and I'll let them borrow them, but
yeah, and
they're going to be dead because I used them all day.
Yep, probably. So
anyway,
but that's them.
Yep, this is what they look like. And basically you just put them on like this. Look very cool. And when they're charged, the screen will blink back and forth like what David was talking about. And basically there's a ton of different drills you can do with this. I have a bunch of drills that I've created that you can do with this that's specific for shooting. But yeah, you wear them, watch targets, play catch, do a bunch of different hand-eye coordination things, and definitely improves your sensory.
Yeah, so these glasses are, the MSRP on them is like, what, $1,200?
I think these are the ones we're going to be giving away. Not this exact pair, but because this is mine, but
a new pair of these.
A new pair of the strobe glasses.
And they, I think MSRP around $1,200, or at least over. I know they're over $1,000.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be giving those away.
Yeah, they do also have. If you're like, wow, those are really cool, I would really love some of those, but I don't want to spend $1,200 on them. They do have a pair that doesn't do as much, but it's just as good. You can get what you need out of them for. I think they're about $300, $400.
Yeah, I think so.
I highly suggest it because it's worth the investment, honestly. It's worth the investment just to pay the money, and you can do plenty of drills on the lower level of these glasses to get to improve.
Yeah. They're an amazing product. So we are really, really excited about that, because we kicked off our podcast with a whole series on the mental game, and that was really successful. But to be able to do a second series on vision and bring in some of the best vision experts in the world, and bring in a company that has, the information that these guys have and what they can do with your eyes. I have a couple of my students in their programs using some of the software that they have that pairs with this on like an iPad type thing. And in fact, actually, Joel is one of them that we had I think he was episode 7 or something, episode 7 or 8. And it's an amazing company, and so I'm really looking forward to this whole series.
They're a company too that we've kind of partnered with the lodge. So we're going to have a gym that's in the lodge, and we're going to have one of their big Sentry board training boards. So when you come here for clinics, like for example, we talked about earlier, different guests here for our clinics, it may be like a Synaptic clinic, and we come here and they have like a special training program that we're doing for the people in the clinics for that week. So anyways, be really cool. What?
So Jack and Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, but basically Doug runs a company that Doug and Jack are like they work together, and they're talking about how much the glasses are, and Jack said that Doug needs to pay him more. but yeah, so they're awesome. We'll see who wins one.
Yes.
And then if you can afford the entry model of these, I would get them because,
if you want, I have a link for you to buy them through. So if you're looking to buy them, we will put it in the description box for this episode. Just click on that.
I'll wait for them to do the
and
giveaway.
Go buy them. And then, they might want to be working on stuff from that Ed talks about. And if you want to enter the giveaway, we're going to be announcing that pretty soon on details of how to win.
Doug says, Jack, if you worked harder, I could buy those. Oh, that's funny. So, what else you got for us, Kayle?
Well, that's pretty updated about what we're doing, who's coming on next.
Yeah. So, recap. If you have any questions for an amazing ophthalmologist who specializes in sport vision and has a really good understanding of shooting, works hand in hand with world champions in it, send us an email with your questions. And we have a lot of stuff that we want to go over with Dr. Lyons. One of them being, I want to talk about enough stuff that I think we're going to probably cover multiple episodes with him. Maybe not prior to talking to Synaptic, but after the Synaptic, maybe that's what we will do. So send us your questions because we might have a whole episode based off of questions from you guys. Definitely worth the opportunity.
Yep, I agree. Cool.
So with that, kind of a short episode in terms of things that we have to get out of the way. Why don't we answer some questions?
Yep, we'll do, excuse me, like we normally do. Last 5 minutes or so, rapid fire questions. Ready, go. Do you think the lodge will be done by December?
Yeah.
I do too, I hope it does. We'll have like a Christmas party.
Invite everybody listening?
Yeah, invite everybody listening. We'll have a Christmas party. The ugly sweater party.
So Kayle, what have you colors of lenses. Why don't we
Suggestions?
I guess.
Do you mean suggestions of colors of lenses? If so, I'm a fan of anything like red tone. If it has a red hint of red in it, I like that. Sometimes if it's super bright, I like purples, but I think again that depends on the contrast of your eyes too. Everybody sees.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we will find out. Maybe there's like gender specific colors that work better, you know? Like maybe red tones work better for girls because more guys are colorblind, so something with more contrast would work better for guys or vice versa, you know?
We've heard enough about gender specific things in the news. Why don't we not bring that into shooting with lenses? That was a joke. What's your go-to breakfast before a shoot? Garrett Fuchs wants to know.
I like eggs and egg whites and some kind of wheat toast, and then either like oatmeal or something.
Best lenses to use. So, I mean, a lot of people are asking about lenses, but yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say we can give you our opinion. I use Pila's, he used Pila's. I like some kind of red tone lens, but we're gonna get into like different colors, how the brain sees different colors, and all of that with Ed. So we're definitely gonna be asking him those questions.
Yeah, as far as lenses go, I'm gonna just straight up say this, and I have to put a disclaimer out there. I am not saying this because I'm sponsored or paid by this company, because I am not. And you can pick up the phone and call and ask them right now, and ask them if I am sponsored by, if they sponsor me, and they'll tell you no. So, but I will say I have maybe 4 lenses that I got from them in the mail for free, but I have 20 of them total, and I've purchased every other one. So I spent about $3,000 on glasses from Pila of my own money, and there is not a company that makes a better lens than Pila. Not just because of the variety of offering in terms of what the colors that they offer, but the clarity of the lens that they have, how specific they're built for shooting. I mean, they make a lens that you can't even feel on your face, yet it covers your whole face and doesn't allow you to have any discoloration because the lenses are small and you can't even feel them. I mean, the design of their frames is unmatched in my opinion. The clarity of their lens is unmatched, and the variety of lens colors that they offer is unmatched. And so in terms of what to go with, the best thing to do, and I would highly recommend this because I tell all my students to do it, call Pila and explain to them, maybe go to an ophthalmologist, get an eye test done, figure out if you have any color deficiencies, and then call them on the phone. And I would bet you that maybe Phil, the owner, would probably be the guy that's answering the phone, and tell them, this is how my eyes are. What lens should I get? Which lens set should I get? And they're going to tell you. And they're so helpful, an amazing product. But in terms of what lens do we suggest, in terms of what's the best, it's honestly impossible to say because everybody's eyes are different. And it's impossible to understand how different they are, because we're talking about, if I'm telling you how I see things, you're going to interpret that through the filter in which you see it. So it's impossible to know the difference or understand the contrast difference of colors. But if you get an eye test done, understand what your eyes are deficient in or see really well or whatever, call the company and buy 3 lenses from them, and that's all you need. Duke Durham says, David, do you use the glasses in your lessons? I'm gonna guess you're talking about the strobe glasses. Yeah, I've used the strobe glasses before multiple times in my lessons. In fact, one of my students that I've used them with is watching right now and just commented earlier. Ron, we've used strobe glasses before in his lessons, testing out eye dominancy and working out visual connection with the bird. So I have used them before. I will say, though, that just if you are using them, you have to know that make sure you're doing it safely, because some models are not ballistic lens.
Also, if you're epileptic, don't.
Yes, definitely
do
do
not
that.
put these glasses on.
Right. Oh yeah, Art Miller mentioned this with the Pila, that there's no distortion. I don't know if you know this about Pilas. Do you have a lens that you can get to quickly?
Yes.
It's the most amazing thing that for people that
Does it matter color?
no, it doesn't matter. And if you can find my box, if you know where that is, grab that, because it'll be easier to see. I'm going to show you guys an example of how amazing Pilas are and how this absolutely will blow your mind, the technology that they have. Okay. Do you know about their technology that does not distort light?
Yes, but I'm not. I mean, I know about it, but I'm not.
Great
I couldn't
lens.
tell you about it. That's my favorite one, probably.
Yeah, the 50 RHC. I've won so many tournaments shooting in these. Okay, so this is a Pila 50 RHC. I believe this is like a Panther lens.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, this one's my favorite. 52 CHC. It's like got some red.
Chrome high contrast.
Yeah, it's got some red tints in it, but it's chrome on the outside.
And slightly dirty.
Yeah, very
Okay,
dirty.
so this might not be, actually this is not the type of lens. I have one, but my lenses are this way. So Pila makes a specific lens. Oh, it is this one. Yes, it is. Okay, so Pila makes think of it this way. Do you know what fiber optics are? Mm-hmm. So like fiber internet, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like a basically glass mm-hmm. that light transmits through. And you can think of like when you're a little kid, did your parents ever have those Christmas trees with the fiber optic lights? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you know how with glass, if you bend that glass, the light bends with it, mm-hmm. right? Okay, so if you take do you happen to have grab those glasses right over there, those Oakleys. Right next to the picture frame and the candle. Or
these aren't Oakleys.
What are the ones right next to it?
These?
Yeah.
Same.
Oh, okay. I'll grab Oakleys over here.
Your Oakleys are right there.
Where?
Behind your mic.
Where?
Behind your mic.
Oh. Okay. So, Pila, I don't know how they do it. Maybe we'll get Phil to explain this. But they have this technology to where so like obviously do you see the thickness of this lens? I would say maybe it's like 3 millimeters, obviously because it's bulletproof, mm-hmm. okay? So the downside about that is that it's thick. So that should mean that if it bends like this or if it changes angle, it should distort the mm-hmm. angle at which you see the light. Downside with that is that if you're looking through a lens and the lens angle changes, that means the visual information you're getting from the target and the barrel gets thrown off. So then all of a sudden you're going to put the gun in the wrong spot. But with the Pila lenses, you can put this up next to your eyes and twist it any way that you want, bend it back and forth, and it doesn't change the visual information.
I know. Yeah.
But if I were to take these Oakleys, everything gets moved around. If you're listening to this podcast, you should watch it. Isn't that cool? I don't know how they do that, but it's amazing. And it's very valuable for shooting. Brian says, in saying 50-50 setup is not optimal, I have shot that way my whole life. Would changing to 60-40 or 70-30 change my whole approach to hitting targets as far as hold points? Brian, what I would tell you on that is, for anybody listening, don't just change right now because I said that it's not optimal for sporting clays if you've done it your whole life that way. If you want to change, because I will tell you that at least in shooting sporting, 50-50 is not optimal. You're going to want to go to, at the flattest, a 60-40, depending on specific eye dominancy issues. But on average, it's very safe to say that a 60-40, 70-30 is pretty common. But if you want to switch to that, do it with a professional instructor. And I don't mean somebody like an NSCA certified instructor. Get somebody that understands vision and understands proprioceptive shooting, understands low gun shooting in putting all those mechanics. So someone like myself, Wendell Cherry, Tom C., Anthony, Zach, Kevin, any of the guys that really understand how to shoot, get with them and ask them that you want to change something like that, because you will do more harm than good if you try to do it yourself. Because long story short, what's going to happen is you're going to say, okay, I'm going to shoot it, set my eyes up to where I'm 60-40 now. And when you do that, you're going to be shooting off sight pictures rather than something else that we would talk about in a lesson. And you're going to be shooting over everything. So don't do it. It'll be an astronomical drop in scores immediately if you try to do it without help. Let's see. Your dad says, are the lenses still made by Zeiss?
Pilo lenses?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do glass colors affect attacking targets? That's an interesting question. That's Doug Blowers.
That'd be a question for Ed, I would think.
Yeah.
I would imagine, depending how your eye accepts light and color, would be the answer to that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ron Schwartz wants to know if the strobe glasses can fit over prescription glasses.
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't see why they couldn't.
I wouldn't see why they couldn't either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But I will make sure to ask.
I mean, we can just tell. I mean,
like if I had these glasses on.
Well, yeah.
Let me see.
I mean, those are huge.
Why'd you do that?
People say I have a big head.
I don't know.
But those aren't really prescription. It depends on what your prescription glasses look like.
I don't know. I might do it with contacts.
Yeah.
If you have contacts. But I wonder if they make like an insert, like you can get your prescription in an insert here.
Very good question.
We will ask.
Yeah.
If not, business idea.
Let's go back to Doug Blowers' question about does glass colors affect attacking targets? Doug, if you can answer this question for me, that will help me answer your question. Do you mean, does it help you attack targets because will a different lens color help you see it earlier? Or do you mean will a different lens color help you see clarity earlier versus less blur earlier? Or do you mean will a different lens color influence your mental state to help you shoot it faster? Those three different questions. Tell me which one you're referring to, asking that question, what filter you're asking the question through, because I would probably have a different answer for all three of those. Let's see. Art Miller wants to know, do we suggest any snacks while shooting?
100%. If you don't have a snack box, you're not shooting right. I carry Bomar Nutrition protein bars with me all the time. I carry fruit with me. I carry like nuts, like cashews and almonds, and lots of water. What do you carry?
Well, I carry a lot of water, but just specific water with a, if I can, I like that Essentia water with the high pH. I think it's like a 9.5 pH. Mm-hmm. And I use this Nun tablet. So I'm going to try that LMNT stuff that Matt talked about.
Yeah.
Joel told me on the phone yesterday that it's better than the Nuns.
Cool.
So I'm interested in that. And I do, for snacks, I mean, it depends on what's available, but I like to try to basically find something that's going to give me good, solid energy, no crash, no sugar. So normally I'm doing some type of nuts or like a yogurt with like a non-fat goat yogurt or something that Joel normally brings for us all.
Goat yogurt?
Yeah, you remember those little things?
I don't know about the goat
almost
yogurt.
every shoot that I've gone to.
Doug says all of the above.
All of the above. Okay. So In terms of the again, I'm gonna give you my experience of this, and this is a great question to have Ed talk about, because from my experience, and I'm obviously different. If I noticed two different types of approaches for lenses. So I either go really dark, that gives me high contrast of color, but I tend to have less detail. Which for me is good, because sometimes I'm not so worried about trying to see all the rings and ridges and shadows on a bird, but instead I want to have something almost look like a flashlight out there, just shine, like really stand out. And if I'm trying to shoot quickly, that's more what I'm going for, because I'm not going to establish visual detail anyway. Visual acuity is not as important as visual discipline, especially through the filter of shooting very fast. So I'm going to go with some type of lens, whether it be dark or light. I just want something that's more contrast based so that I see movement better. In terms of, and so like a lot of times if I'm using a lighter lens, I can see detail much better, but contrast not so much because of the way that the lenses work. And then in terms of the other stuff, there's a lot of scientific evidence that shows one way or the other, but I think that maybe as part of the Vision series podcast, I would love to, because it kind of works out for both Kayle and I and Ed. All three of us represent Pila, and so maybe we could get Phil on here and talk about some stuff and answer some questions about his lenses, because that would, I think, be very helpful.
Yeah.
And Nate says, I thought shooting wasn't a smart man's game. Okay, so Joey Rutter wants to know, if we had to pick, what one choke size would you pick for sporting and for FTASC?
Probably an iMod for me. What would you pick?
Well, I don't have to pick because I don't have chokes.
You have fixed chokes. He has fixed chokes.
I don't have chokes.
I have the ability to change my chokes, but if I just had one, I would shoot it iMod at everything. It's just enough. You can shoot some far ones, especially like in FTASC, but you can also hit close ones too. You probably could even get away with a modified, honestly.
So prior to them having the Guinness World Record attempt at Northbrook at the World Championship this past summer, for the longest shot, which ended up being 110 yards, just because it happened right there, I was trying to break the world record. This was maybe like 5 years ago, maybe actually probably longer than that, and I broke a bunch of targets at 167 yards. We got it on video, and we both walked it out, measured it out on a wheel, and used the rangefinder. And so 167 yards, I had a modified choke.
Yeah.
So
I shot the whole Tower Bird Challenge in England on an improved cylinder, and broke some really far ones out there.
The gun that I shoot with fixed chokes, my Perazzi, is choked at 28 thousandths in each barrel. Kaylee's, well, I guess we don't have any more. We have some other questions, but if you got to go, we can just wrap up.
Oh, that's fine. We can answer them.
You don't have to go right now?
Mm-hmm.
What?
We can answer the questions.
Okay. They're just, this one just, I had a question, then it says message retracted. So Doug Blauer says, contrast versus details changes many conversations. Yeah, so, I mean, in your game, do you ever have to deal with that?
Contrast versus detail. I'm always shooting for detail if the weather is cooperating. If it's cloudy and foggy, then I'm just going for contrast. But 90% of the time, I'm trying to see detail. So I pick a lens that kind of blurs everything else out and makes the target more visible to me so I can see detail.
But do you notice the same thing with dark versus light lenses? Or is
It depends on the weather. I always try to shoot for a lens that's going to allow me to see detail, but if the weather's so bad I'm not able to see detail, then I go for contrast. So, I mean, if it's the sun's like in and out through clouds, I'll pick one that's like a good medium, you know, but if it's super bright outside, like really sunny, then I go for like a darker lens, like a purple, because I can see detail on those. But if it's just really cloudy and really dark and the sun's not out and it's like even raining, then I choose kind of like a lime green, almost clear lens.
Lime green? What in the world lens is that?
I think it's like a 92 or a 94 lens.
Do you know the letters on it?
Mm-mm.
No.
I mean, it's like the only lime green one that they make that's like in the 90s, I think.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Well, I say that's good.
Cool.
Hour and a half. Thanks, guys, for joining us. And if you're listening to one more. Okay, this is a good question. What details of the clay do you expect to see at 30, 40, and 50 yards, etc.?
For bunker, I guess.
Whatever.
I can see the rings on the targets, and I can also see if the sun's hitting it a certain way. I can see different shadows on the target. Basically, I train my eyes to lock on the target as fast as they can, and I train them to look at detail. So any detail I can see is what I try to lock onto, whether that's the dome of the target, if that's a shadow on the target, or if it's a really good day and my eyes are working good, I can see the rings on the target. I don't think 30 yards is pretty close in my game. So I'm not sure if at that point I could like really clear something up. So for me, I would guess it would be, I don't even know like how many yards the first shot's taken at. It might be about
I bet you
30. It's probably around 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say my mark would be between like 30 and 40 yards probably is where I can see detail. And then past that, you're just trying to kind of keep your eyes on it.
For me, that question totally revolves around how well I've slept, how calm I am, the background, the lighting, the approach I'm trying to take, whether it be contrast or clarity. But
I think it also the target presentation for you.
Yeah,
because
100%.
You could have a 60-yard target, but it could be super slow and very easy to see detail and contrast on.
Well, even a bird that's fast can be easy, but like think of it this way: if the sun is at a specific angle to which it casts shadows, right, versus if the sun is directly behind the bird or somewhere behind it, so all I'm seeing is orange. It totally varies, and so to be able to tell you a good answer on that is really hard, because I don't want you looking for something that's necessarily not there. Because if it's not there and you think it should be, I don't want you discouraged that you can't see. It's also
looking as hard as you can at it, as if you were able to see detail every time, is good enough.
Yeah, the best answer to the question of how much detail should I see is as much as you can. That's the best answer. And if you, when not shooting and when fully relaxed and when trying to see the bird as good as possible with the gun not even up, if you can't see that much detail while you're shooting, you're not at your 100%. And your 100% in terms of visual detail is what we're always looking after, looking to go after. So just base it off of that. Kaylee, do you have time for like one?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have two more questions I think that are really good. So Mark wants to know, hey y'all, how do you, he says y'all. Mark, you're not from down here. How do you determine the correct weighting of a shotgun? I love my parkour, but the recoil can get stout, even with 7/8 ounce. I added weight, but feel like I've ruined the dynamics of the gun.
Parkours with Prozzy or Krieghoff. I don't guess that would really matter.
There's no parkour in Parazzi. It's a Krieghoff parkour.
Well, I think of parkours as like soldered together barrels. I guess that's just specific to Krieghoff, I guess.
Yes.
But
Typical Krieghoff shooter.
Soldered together barrels is what I consider parkours because because they have the separated barrels.
Do you want me to answer?
I don't care. You can.
Do you have an answer?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So the best answer for that, Mark, is it depends on what you're trying to shoot. So I know you have a lot of background in international skeet, but I would say a gun set for international skeet should be balanced different than a gun set for sporting. So it really depends on what game you're trying to go after. I would say if you want a gun balanced for shooting sporting, I would do this. I would pay attention to where both of your hands are when you're mounting the gun and shooting the gun, and also make sure that that's always in a consistent spot. If it is in a consistent spot, then literally take the meat of your hand, like dead center of where the gun would fit in your hands, in the front, and then where your hands are in the back.
Sporting.
Yeah, for shooting sporting, and so with that, I would go dead center in between those 2 points. I'm just going to show you on my duck gun. So don't ask why this is behind the curtains. I get asked this all the time. So for my duck gun, I hold it here and here. Okay, so for me, a good balance point would be directly in between. Put it right there, Kaylee.
Right.
Directly in between both hands. So I don't know if this one's balanced or not because it's my duck gun, but I remember doing some work to it. Yeah, this would be too heavy. Too heavy for shooting. So I would want a good balance point right in between my hands for my sporting gun, because what that does is, don't just take the age-old right on the hinge pin, because the hinge pin might not be between your hands for that gun, but just go in between your hands and you'll feel that the gun moves almost effortlessly.
I would say that's like a good just general rule of thumb, and then you can kind of like make it specific to what game you're shooting.
Yeah, my example would be like in let's say like international skeet. I wouldn't want a gun balanced that way because it would be a little too slow to come up. You know, like I would want a lot more.
My gun's balanced that way.
In between your hands?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, because I think that type of balance gives you the most precision.
Yeah.
You know, your game requires a lot of precision. And so does international skeet, but a huge part of skeet is speed.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Andrew said, if you could take one skill or talent from the other for shooting, which would it be? So, David, pick something you think Kayle does better than you and vice versa.
Ooh,
that's a cool
good question. I would say, let me think about this from you. What do you do better than me?
Like everything.
I would say in sporting clays, having to learn so many different target presentations, you instantly know what to do and how to set up with it. I think you have a wider variety of knowledge on different targets, and like nothing really surprises you on that. So I wish I had that, because I've been so stuck in bunker. I only see the same, couple targets. So my target presentation is a lot more limited than yours. Like if you see a target way out there, you know exactly what to do. Whereas I see a target way out there, I'm like,
I don't know if that answers the question.
Well, what I'm saying is I wish I had your target presentation knowledge.
But that's not a skill or a talent.
Kinda. I mean,
that's a cheap answer.
Not really. Yeah. I think that is really hard to acquire. It takes a long time to acquire that.
Let's pick something that doesn't require time, because then my answer could be that I wish I had the experience of shooting bunker that you do. That's a BS answer.
Okay, then I don't know. That's my answer.
Okay, I would say with Kayle, I wish that I had her competitiveness, and I don't just mean that like pretty plainly. Like when, for me, a big weakness of mine is that if I'm not entertained, then I'm not going to shoot really well, and so I don't have a very good mental fortitude, I guess you could say. Like if I don't care about it, I'm probably not going to shoot very well. And care about it could mean that it's either a big title or it could be something stupid that doesn't make sense to most other people, but I just care about it. It could also mean that I could be in a world championship and not care about it and not shoot well. And so with Kayle, it doesn't really matter that aspect of it. So like, you know, if she decides that she's going to compete, it doesn't matter the external circumstances around that. She's going to be there mentally. And so I wish that I had that. Cool. All right. Good enough?
I think so.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Real quick.
Oh, wait. I have a last minute giveaway.
You do?
Yep. Okay. Just as before, same rules. Hand me that choke thing.
This thing?
Yep.
You're going to give this away?
Well, I'm going to give one of them away. Okay. So, my dad owns a fabrication business, and he has created this little, I don't even know if he has a name for it, but it's this little choke tube thing. So what you can do is you can stick this down in your barrel if your choke gets stuck. Pull your barrel out. Pull your choke out, not your barrel. It also has this little compartment that hosts, I don't know if these are going to come out or not. They're stuck in there. But it has like a brush in there. It has a little pin in here. They both screw onto right here. So if you have a firing pin that you need to get out, you can get out a firing pin. This is also heavy enough that, wait, I think this unscrew? I think this unscrews too.
Yeah.
But this is also heavy enough that you can drop it down your barrel if you get like a wad stuck or something like that, and then you can put it back in here and put this back on it. If you don't throw it, put that back on it, and you can just toss it in your shooting bag. Cool little compact, all-inclusive.
You're giving away all my stuff.
All-inclusive tool here. So, how to win this little majigger is, I have a question for you, and the first person to answer the question correctly wins. Okay, here is the question. Who won the first ever Olympic medal? Go. Very first Olympics, who was the first person to win a medal?
Do you want to classify that by being in the modern era?
Yeah, I guess.
Because otherwise people are going back to the ancient Greek times.
Yeah, the modern era Olympics. Who was the first person to win a medal? Who said it?
Doug Harradine is the winner.
Cool. All right, Doug, you have won. I'll have to ask my dad what this is called because I don't really know. I just call it the clean and thingamajigger. But you have won this. Please, do you have his information?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So we have your information, and we will ship this little doodad out to you.
We'll trade you that for building a tower.
Ooh. I don't know if that's quite equivalent, but yeah. All right, guys. We appreciate y'all sticking with us for this long. So thank y'all very much. We had fun with y'all answering your questions. And Be sure next week to listen to our episode with Ed. Also, don't forget to send us your questions if you have questions for Ed. You can email us and send us your questions. But other than that, thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And I'm going to do the intro scene at the end because I forgot it at the beginning. So, adios.